Okay, so this is going to be a ComplexTwist woolly bugger tied with Hobby Lobby Gilt Eyelash yarn. I've seen where the usual ComplexTwist is done with some kind of an eyelash that's just tinsel, not flashy like this. It's usually done with that and two different colored schlappen feathers. So schlappen feathers are just big webby feathers, and I've gone through my saddle hackle to pick out the webbiest feathers I can find. Now, these little short ones really aren't appropriate. You need to get something really long so that you can wrap the feather all the way up the shank of the hook to have legs all along it. So besides the webby hackle feather, we're going to use some marabou. I'm going to do this two-tone, black and brown, with the gold accent in this Hobby Lobby Gilt Eyelash. And I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. Okay, so if you can get your hands on this stuff, black and gold is worth its weight in gold. I mean, this stuff is amazing. That color combination in the water when it's stained and off color, that absolutely gets the fish's attention. One of the easiest things for them to see in difficult fishing situations. So if you can find that stuff, grab it. I know I will. Anyway, I've got 140 denier flat thread here. Start at the bend. And I'll go ahead and do the tail first. I will add some weight to this in just a minute. Go all the way back to the bend. And again, I like a two-tone tail. This is a size 2/0 hook, by the way. Not 2/0, I'm sorry, it's a size 2. It's a really big woolly bugger. I catch an awful lot of trout on these. At least size 2 woolly buggers tied traditional style. I haven't really tried these yet, but having seen how they came out, I think they're going to do just fine. So I'll do black on the bottom and a full marabou feather on top. Brown on the bottom, a full black marabou feather on top. That little fluff there. So we got a two-tone tail. And then to tie in with the color of the yarn, I'm going to give it a little bit of accent, little flash. So I've got some gold crystal flash here. I say 2/0. Woolly buggers like this have caught me an awful lot of striped bass. So if you did it in a 2/0, you might actually catch some striped bass in a river situation. Do 2 strands down the one side, fold it over, and get 2 strands to go down the other side. Kind of right down the middle between the two colors. It's just a little warped, but it won't matter too much in the water. Cut that a little bit long and trim the excess marabou. And just for fun, I'm going to add a bunch of 0.035 lead-free wire. It's going to help this sink because there's going to be a really big bushy fly. Extra weight is not a bad thing on something that's this full, tied this full. And you know, I'm not going to worry too much about having a smooth underbody either. This thing is so shaggy and bushy by the time it's done. I will come up here and secure the lead in the cone. I could go ahead and invest in a better vise, but whatever, it holds the hook, doesn't it? Alright. Right back to the bend again. And I will start with my big webby feather. Strip the fluff away at the base. And this feather is going to be tied in by the tip. So grab the tip of the feather, stroke fibers backwards, and grab the tip of the feather right there. Then take my eyelash yarn, and you see it's got a nap basically, that all the fibers go in one direction. I want to go to the end where the fibers hang off. This is sort of like wrapping rabbit fur on the shank of a hook. Fold the end fibers back so that the very beginning of the fly here, right in front of the tail, has plenty of fiber around it. And there's no gap here. I'm just going to go ahead and pin down what's left of that hackle tip, return the thread to the eye of the hook, cover that up a little better. There we go. And now here comes the twist part. I'm going to untwist this eyelash yarn first, take my hackle feather, lay it alongside, and make sure all these hackle fibers are flared out. Just stroke them up like this, hold the stem, and twist counterclockwise to twist this all up. In fact, I have a little too much of that yarn, so get rid of that excess. There it goes. So I'll hold it away from the camera so we can see it twisting. Just twist the entire feather right up into the eyelash yarn. And so, I mean, we're going to get the brown accent from the feather combining with the black and the gold. And just to make sure these fibers don't get trapped, I'm going to go ahead and take a toothbrush, use anything really, dog brush, Velcro, tease the tinsel out of the eyelash yarn, and just start wrapping this up the shank of the hook, stroking the fibers back with each turn. Kind of a unique combination. I like that with the gold, the black, and the brown from the feather. Makes a real big, shaggy, buggy body. You don't really need any chenille underneath it. There's going to be enough fiber on there to give the impression of bulk. Now, the only drawback to not using actual schlappen is your feathers might not be quite as full and they might not be as long. So you could almost tie on a second feather here. In fact, I think I'm going to do that since we didn't get all the way to the head of the fly with our first feather. So I'll tie off that stem. And this is where having actual schlappen would be a good thing, but I mean, I know we all have those packs of saddle hackles with ginormous feathers in there that we're never going to use. So why not, you know, use what you got. And take one of these shorter ones. And I probably don't need that much of this. I only need maybe 4 turns, 5 turns. So I'll just tie it in where the fibers are starting to get a little bit longer. Right at the spot where I have what's left of that yarn hanging. And twist this feather up into the eyelash yarn. Stroke all that out and just continue on up. Now I'm not going to go right to the cone necessarily, because on my buggers I actually like to have something of a wet fly collar, almost just a nice big cone collar made out of extra webby hackle. So I'll leave a little bit of space there. Clip away the excess, and I'm going to go with 2. Get 2 nice thick webby hackles right here. Fluff's already been pulled away. Just line them up, tie them in together. 2. Pull all that extra eyelash yarn out of the way. And I'm going to take these feathers and I'm going to fold them. So just pull the fibers down and back, keeping them right on top of each other. So holding them, fold them together. You could do them separately. I just want a really full collar of brown, wrapping them together, that fills in right up to the cone head. Just wrap them right there at the cone. Trap some fibers here. There we go. Clip off those tips. Kind of looks like bunny ears. There we go. Wrap a few times behind the cone and we're done. Now normally when I tie a bugger I use rubber legs, 2 sets of rubber legs, front and back. Kind of about, well, 2/3 of the way up and then right up behind that hackle collar, but I really don't know that it would make a difference, that much of a difference. It's just an extra step. So there you go. It's kind of subtle. I mean, it looks like it's just the eyelash yarn, but actually there is brown hackle worked into the gold and black. It just gives you a nice big bushy buggy woolly bugger. And I'll have to let you guys know how this fly does, but I have a feeling, I mean, it's very similar to the larger woolly buggers that I fish in my river for big rainbows, big browns. And based on what this looks like compared to my standard woolly buggers, I think this thing's going to produce. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that was a tip you might get to use. Do go look for that Gilt Eyelash yarn. It comes in lots of colors and works sort of like a dubbing brush almost.